And like basketball, Tractor Supply knows that winning seasons take practice, teamwork, and a can-do attitude. It's Bracket Challenge season. Now, the Fox Sports Radio Bracket Challenge is live, so be sure to complete your bracket at foxsportsradio.com right now. And the winning bracket in the FSR Bracket Challenge will win a $2,500 gift card to Tractor Supply.
Can't wait. And a perfect bracket will win you $1 million.
Good luck with that. Perfect bracket.
Fill out your bracket now and until Thursday morning before the games begin. Visit foxsportsradio.com to register to get the rules and fill out your bracket. It's all sponsored by Tractor Supply for life out here.
You know, you talked about us being away, and no one cares. I appreciate we're being back. I'm excited to be on the show today. But while we're gone, I will say, every time there was a big trade or a big signing, you were probably feeling the same thing. Like, really? Like
FOMO.
There's so many days where nothing happens, and we're sitting here chopping it up, having fun. And, you know, you're sitting around and your phone goes off. You're on the beach, you know, finally taking a couple days to yourself, and you're like, wait, where's Cooper Kupp going? Like, it happened nonstop last week.
Speaking of, you know, again, I'm in a cenote in Mexico. I thought he was going to the Cowboys. That was like the initial rumor, right? Like, oh, Kupp to the Cowboys, huh? Wow. I already thought that was like a done deal in my mind because, again, I'm on a jet ski. I'm doing the backstroke. I'm kayaking down rivers. And then I realized, like, what? He's on the Seahawks? Seahawks making moves.
So I just want to throw some of these out here, and please just, is there anything we missed while in cenotes and on kayaks?
Well, you could fill us in, but we could also explain that this is what stood out to us. This is what stood out to us. So, again, when I tell you I was in it, I was in Riviera Maya. I barely had signal at times. I was in the jungles of Mexico. I was, again, in 5 cenotes. I'm not even kidding. I was in rivers. I was in caves. I was all over the place out there on my adventures.
For those that don't know, because I feel like I only know the word cenote from like dating shows on Netflix or something.
Don't assume everybody's as clueless as you are.
But I don't know if many people. Cenote is like what? Like a body of water in like a cave, right? Or like,
yeah, but sometimes the cave collapses and sometimes it's just an open body of water. But yeah, sweet, man. So
a natural pit or sinkhole formed by the collapse of limestone bedrock,
and
exposing groundwater.
More sinkholes, less stinkholes. And that's why I was out there.
Says that.
You know, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
So I'm in there. I'm in nature is my point, right? I'm at the beach. I'm on a paddleboard. I'm living life. So this is what stood out to me. You're like, wow. It started when we left. Geno to the Raiders, huh? That was it. Geno to the Raiders. Pieces are starting to fall. You're like, whoa. Danny G, I thought of you. I'm like, how does Danny G feel about that?
And then you said, I'll find out in 10 days.
The Raiders.
Yeah. And then I said, I'll find out on Monday. Danny G, how'd you feel about that initially?
I was a little surprised because nobody really saw that one coming. I like it, though. After the dust is settled, it gives the Raiders a lot more flexibility for that number 6 draft pick in the first round.
And like we already said, Kupp to the Seahawks. That was a big one. And that was a surprise to me because, like I said, I wasn't glued to my phone. That's what vacation's about, right? I wasn't glued to the TV. I didn't watch The White Lotus. I'm not caught up on The Bachelor, but I did check to see what was going on. I thought Cooper Kupp was going to end up on the Cowboys. That was the rumor. That's what I kept seeing. That's what my algorithm was telling me. And then I saw it to the Seahawks. I was like, all right.
Then go from Danny G to Dan Byer because he's a Seahawks guy. How do you feel about the new faces of your team? All of a sudden, you go away for a couple days, and all of a sudden, you got Sam Darnold and Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, guys, it's funny because Mike McDonald was even asked by a reporter, are you building up or are you tearing this down? What is the plan? Because people in Seattle were kind of confused.
It's a great question, yeah.
I felt like I saw the vision. I thought Geno Smith was great with what the Seahawks did. I actually thought he got more hype now that he's with the Raiders than any other time that he was in Seattle outside of maybe that Broncos game.
Yeah.
Thought he was really good for them. Did throw a lot of interceptions, but was really good. But they got Darnold cheaper. Darnold also throws interceptions, so I don't mind that. They got him younger. It's essentially a one-year deal. I'm not sure how much Cooper Kupp's got in the tank, but if you can at least make it work for this year and move on from that, I'm fine with it. I think they're trying to compete in the NFC West. I don't think they're tearing it down.
I think it's sort of like a swinging couple swap where no one's benefiting more. Like,
what about Metcalf to the Steelers?
No, but I'm saying when you get rid of Geno and Metcalf and you bring in Kupp and Darnold, I feel like that's almost like an equal match. I don't think the Seahawks should be bummed or that pumped either way. It's almost like almost a push in a sense. No.
Well, also DK's getting $30 million a year, which you aren't paying Kupp remotely close to that.
Exactly.
And as I mentioned, Geno wanted $45 million a year. They're paying Sam Darnold $35 million, or at most at least $37 in that first year. So it's under market value, and it frees them up for other stuff where I think they're trying to. I honestly think they're kind of trying to do a little bit of what the Niners did, not verbatim, but more of a defensive team and then running the football, and hopefully your quarterback can make a play here and there.
I had the same exact question, Dan Byram. Like, are the Seattle Seahawks just giving up here?
A lot of Seahawks fans felt that way as well.
And then I took another sip of my skinny margarita double, and I sort of moved on from that thought. But it's a great one. But you realize that, they're just shifting it up a little bit. It is more of a push. You're right, Rich. I agree with that. Metcalf to the Steelers, that's the other one.
And then you say, well, who ends up as the Steelers quarterback with DK Metcalf there? Is that a team that's on the up and up now? Do they end up with Aaron Rodgers? I thought by the time we got back on the air, Aaron Rodgers would have a home.
Yeah, here's the funny thing is, I don't know if you guys agree with this, but if you wanted Russell Wilson, you could have him. And the whole narrative was they weren't going to bring two quarterbacks back, but they were going to maybe bring one back. Well, only one's available, and you're not bringing him back yet. So what is the push if you don't get Aaron Rodgers? Mason Rudolph re-signed with them. Remember, he took them to the playoffs 2023 at the end of that season. Maybe they're just good with that, but Russell Wilson's kind of hanging in limbo.
I'm glad you said that, DB, because I didn't even write this down on my...
Rich was actually doing the limbo while Russell Wilson was just hanging.
Was in limbo.
Yeah.
It's a true story. I'm glad DB mentioned the Steelers QB situation because I didn't even write it down on our pre-show notes. Justin Fields, Jets. Like, there are some people
that was one of the times you texted our group saying, I wish we were on the air right now.
To me, that's an interesting one because he had it seemed like he was starting to come around at the end of the Chicago tenure. Then start out with the Steelers, and it's like, Justin Fields, does he got the juice? And then they replace him with Russell Wilson, so don't get a real good look. And now he's on his third team in the last 3 years. Justin Fields is a very interesting situation because he's also being paid something that no one else is being paid. He's not in the upper echelon, obviously. Mm-mm. He's not even the step below that. But he's also not getting paid like backup little money, like 2 years, $20 million a year. That's the deal, right? That's like a weird in between. No one else is in that category.
And you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, but then the report is that he wants to play for the Vikings, or maybe retire. We don't know how true that is, but sounds like something that would be on Aaron Rodgers' mind.
And you're like, Vikings, huh? Right? So again, you got to imagine from our perspective, we're on vacation. You're trying to be in the zone of relaxation, but you're hearing all these updates and your wheels are spinning like, wow, man, these are some crazy-ass moves being made.
Relax.
Gardner Minshew to the Chiefs, backing up the Chiefs. Kind of a cool move. I like it.
He's such an interesting guy that
he's all over the place.
When he's even a backup, it's like, where's he going? Because you know that he's just he's a good backup. Such a character, and that's a great backup for Kansas City to have. I thought it was interesting.
And the Chiefs picked him off a few times, so...
Yeah.
They like him.
They know him.
They know he's got a good arm.
As a 49ers fan, I thought there was an emotional high and low of releasing Juszczyk, Pro Bowl tight end, whose wife makes the jackets. Him and Kittle are best friends. There was an emotional post on social media. He's the only Pro Bowl tight end ever because I don't think anyone can even name another, not tight end, fullback that is active, really. Can you name another fullback? Because that position is such a weird position these days. He's back. He signs for sort of the exact money he was released for. So, Juszczyk back on the Niners.
I wonder if any of his teammates hit him up, hey, man, it's fun playing with you. Then you have to take all that back. It's like when our buddy Shay, who works here. Remember, like there was like a moment where he was like, "Yeah, man, it's my last day." I said goodbye to him. I thought that was it. Now I see him now. I'm like,
Awkward.
I thought you were leaving.
Are you going to leave?
I already said goodbye to you. So when he really leaves, I won't care that much. I already said bye to him.
He did the equivalent of like you said goodbye to someone at the bottom of the elevator bank, and then you guys walk in the same direction to your car.
All right.
You have to
Guess
stop
this is
and
goodbye.
You have to stop and fake a phone call for a second.
Yeah,
so
like
that you're not-
you know what I want? Like, there's a guy that works here. His name is Shay. We love him. He's a pal of ours. He's super handsome. Shay, you know Shay, right? He was like, "Yeah, it's my last day." I gave him like a sincere goodbye. Bring it in, man. Give me, let's keep in touch. I gave him the keep in touch.
You had one
Then he
tear
comes back
rolling
like a
down your
week
cheek.
later. He's back a week later. He's like, "Yeah, they brought me back." I'm like, "Well, I want my goodbyes back. Give me back my hug and give me back all my sentimental goodbyes that I gave you." So yeah, he left and came right back.
It's like you went to a wedding and gave a nice gift,
Yep.
and they like annulled the wedding 3 days later. You're like, "Do I get my gift back? Like, what's going on
Can we
here?
get that Cuisinart back?
Do I get my mixer?"
Then I saw a meme, Rich. I think I had moved on to straight up soda and doubles of Don Julio at this point.
Okay.
To kill off some of the calories. Soda, double, Don Julio, gracias, senor. And I saw a meme that said Dallas's best quarterback is on Baltimore now or something like that. I'm like, what? So, Cooper Rush to Baltimore? Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. That's a move, I guess. So that happened. I mean, you started seeing all these crazy moves last week. We missed out on all of it, but this is what stood out to us.
Devontae Adams here in Southern California now for the Rams.
Exactly. Devontae Adams to the Rams. That stood out to me. And then this is totally not football related, but it stood out to me. I kept seeing this everywhere. Again, while I was in Mexico, Rich was in Cabo, Spot was in Hawaii. Danny G was on diaper duty.
I was in Reseda, California, using the pool pass.
He had a staycation, but he had some great pool time. I got to say that this Texas Rangers quote-unquote error hat, this Texas Rangers hat that went viral, I saw that all over the place while I was gone.
It was so up our alley that the misprints, not the misprints, the bad decision by baseball to put the logo on top of the team name, and then it's like, remember the Astros ass hat? Like this? No, the A's ass hat.
Oakland ass hat. Just because of the bad printing and idea, I guess it's an error that was done on purpose. That's really what it is. The Texas Rangers hat stood out to me, but it also said, hey, man, baseball's right around the corner. In fact, tomorrow, if you're a Cubs and Dodgers fan. So lots of exciting stuff
Did you see
happening
the
in the world
Angels
of
hat?
sports.
They pulled the Angels hat as well.
See, I don't know. I saw a bunch of them, but I don't know if they were real or just...
that was my understanding. I thought that they also pulled the Angels hat.
Yeah, the Angels one's a good one.
Yes.
You know why? Here's what happened. I knew the Texas one was real, but then I thought people were just being creative on social media with the other ones.
No, I agree. I totally, You wondered if they doctored it to make it look like that.
You don't know what's real at all anymore.
I know. Well, hey, now we're back in action. Plenty of new stuff to talk about. But
ready for baseball at 3 a.m.
When you're away, though, even for a couple days during a popular time of the year for trades, you come back and you're like, oh, my God, did I miss anything? And, of course, people hit me up. And the funny memes about the 49ers look like they just got rid of everyone. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm buying into it or not. The homer part of me is like, they're going to be just fine. But I feel like everyone else has sold it to 49ers on some, troublesome rebuild. But Vegas odds still have them as one of the bigger teams in the NFC. So I don't know what to think about the 49ers. 1 minute everyone's saying how John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, no one's better. And now it's like, what have they done to this team? So, hey, listen. A lot happens in the offseason in football that we're interested even when they're not playing.
Amazing. And like we said, we still got March Madness. We still got baseball right around the corner. And we're talking football. So props to the NFL making news and making moves all last. Who made more moves last week? The NFL or Rich on vacation? That's what I want to know.
Making moves.
Ooh. Vacation Rich. Ooh.
Yeah, heard you were with a bunch of spring breakers, Rich.
Yeah, Dude, Rich actually entered an ass-shaking contest.
I'm telling you, if you go to any island in March, you are taking that chance that you're going to bump into a ton of spring breakers. And I'll just tell you one thing I overheard walking into a lobby of a restaurant. I heard a girl say to her friend, true story, she goes, either I gave him something or he gave me something, but someone has some explaining to do.
It happens.
And I was like,
Maybe it was a
sorry.
Texas Rangers hat.
No.
An inappropriate one.
What? What's going on here?
And by the way, if you somehow missed that, I was in Mexico and saw this story. You got to look it up. The Texas Rangers put out like an error hat, but it really wasn't an error hat.
It's funny.
Error.
It's funny.